Being an alcoholic is easier than being a comedian. Most people can understand why I'm an alcoholic, especially if they've met my parents. But nobody can understand why I'm a comedian. I'm a comedian for the same reason that I'm an alcoholic. It's cheaper than therapy and it involves a lot of booze.
ARGIE Berman. This was really cool. The filmmakers made so many clever and creative choices in how they were going to do this. I really liked it. Cinematography, it's gorgeous right off the bat. And I love how the filmmakers decided to tell the story where it would go back and forth between her being on stage and then her being in the therapist's office and, you know, the different locations where it just kept the thread of the story going. It had a vibe of a little bit of like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where she's breaking the fourth wall and talking directly to the camera, which I loved. I thought that there were a lot of really heartfelt moments, and I thought that there were a lot of really funny moments too. Nice job with this. It was really a lot of fun.
ARGIE Berman. I love this piece. It really did feel like an elevated and theatrical way of exploring a comedy set. And to go from the intimacy of a therapist session to a one-on-one sitting at the bar, and then to the grandness of how that interplayed in the comedy act and how there's almost no divide from any of them, but it allowed certain moments to have the juxtaposition and certain moments to come alive in a more intimate way or a way that felt like we had the permission to laugh. So there was an interesting use of distancing or pushing away that I really appreciated. I thought the performance was great. I believed every second, and I thought humor is one of the best ways to get to the depth and to connect to a speaker about a topic like this and the difficulties in that and the freedom and release in revealing was so well earned in this piece. I thought the pacing was great in terms of the cuts. It was never jarring and it felt organic, and it really kept my attention to have those changes of place and the little interspersed pictures of like the map or the clock. I thought was a really great way of exploding this and bringing it to life in a more theatrical way.
Archie Berman, wow! I really like this short film for many reasons. First of all, the concept is very good. To combine the stand-up comedy with therapy, with an AA meeting, it was wild. I mean, during the first couple of minutes of the film, I didn't know what was real or if or what was happening. But as you get to see how these three, let's call them storylines, are related and how she uses her comedy act to express her problems, her feelings, her everything that's on her head, and she talks about what it means to be an alcoholic and what it meant for her to be a lesbian in a conservative Jewish family in Florida. It was mind blowing, and it's so good that I thought that this was real. Actually, I thought that Archie Berman was a real person, and I was surprised to find out to discover that this is an actress and that this all is probably made up. But it doesn't matter because it's very, very, very good, and it kind of reminded me to this series, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, because it's a Jewish comedian, a Jewish comedian woman, and it's very good and it's full of energy. Yes, it was very impressive. But what I liked most about this project was the way this character uses comedy as a therapeutic way, as a way to confront old wounds, to confront her mistakes, to confront her pain, and to turn the problems of life into something beautiful, into something that creates joy in people. That's something that I love, and I really loved this short film. It was an amazing experience. Thank you very much for sending it.
Archie Bergman is a short film that is a comedic routine, but it is elevated. This is not your typical stand up comedy show. This is done and presented in a cinematic experience. So, meanwhile, at times we have our character having this fluid conversation that ultimately is a stand-up routine. We get these cinematic elements of what visual filmmaking is itself. We get these snippets of these different experiences. Usually with comedy, there is a lot of exposition dialogue to build up the story, to have these punch of jokes. And so although we do get this sort of experience, it is done in such an elegant, there's a lot of work and effort and thought that was put into this piece, and it really shows. For example, having a feast on your table, having food props is a lot of work, and to have it look nice and everything, and have the space, the production design, and the wardrobe, and all of that come together, all of these pieces that come into play for telling a 10-minute, comedy routine is sort of not everything that you get to see every day. And so for me, there's a lot of darkness in the world out there. So for someone to come in and bring this sense of brightness and do it in such a way that you get to sort of relate and see and enjoy the overall experience and get to laugh, and you sort of get to be a part of the experience rather than hearing about the experience. And I think that adds a little bit to the humor as we get to not only depict on what we would imagine, we actually get to see it as themselves playing it out.